So, fellow YouTuber, True Budget EDC has this saying that I like quite a bit. It's use your gear or lose your gear. If I'm misquoting that, I think I've said it before, True Budget, and if I'm misstating that, my bad. I'll get my shit together. Today we will rock with some of this Starbucks espresso roast. Let me start my three-part apology now by saying I know that's some peasant level stuff, but it does kind of get the job done, and I'm gonna freaking bang this shit out. It's gonna be some really good stuff. But I guess the thing I think about pretty often is use your gear or lose your gear. Today, I got a lot of stuff that I have to do. I have capped off I've removed the old toilet from a powder room. I've capped off the sewer pipe so none of the gases seep back into the bathroom. I have to take the light fixture down. I have to remove the wallpaper. I got to get some compression caps for the sink because I'm taking the sink out of there. And quite a few things I got to do. I'll be using my EDC gear today. I guess that kind of goes without being said. I got a lot of crap I'll be knocking out. Some of that stuff I'll be using tools around the garage, but there'll be a high likelihood I'll be using multi-tools and knives and all that other type of stuff. I mean, I intend today to try to, I'm in the middle of planning the refurbishment of my pool, so I have to finish draining the pool. I'm trying to get it bone dry. That's gonna probably take 2 weeks or so to just let it completely dry up. I'm gonna be doing tile and coping on the pool. I have to do wallpaper in that powder room, new fixtures. I have to actually put some wood paneling in that room. It's in that powder room as well. A brand new toilet, a brand new vanity, a lot of stuff. I'm saying all that to say this, that we have a deficit in the ability of men nowadays to do stuff. It's partially people like me. It's my fault. It's partially the fault of people who, we oftentimes don't pass down the traits and the characteristics of things that we've learned in the past. So when we learn these new things, like for instance, I have two sons, a 3 and a 2-year-old. When I'm going to be teaching them new things quite often, that's my intent. Try to show them some things, show them how the world works, all of that good stuff. However, I have a lot of people that surround me in my life. There is I think a 25-year-old man that I have a lot of interaction with that I don't talk to as often as I should. There's a 20-year-old man who he went to Marine Corps boot camp and he got injured and they med sept him in less than a year mark, and he's gonna try to go to the Navy. There are just a lot of skills that can be passed down, and I'm not doing it as much as I should, which is, I'm gonna take accountability for that. Shame on me for not ensuring that that type of stuff is passed down better to others. But I also want to say that this also has to do with you as well. The knowledge that you have, passing that stuff down, said that young men and young women can do future tasks without being completely inept, completely unable to do these things without like a huge helping hand. Number of stuff I just rattled off, a lot of people can't do, right? A lot of people don't have the ability to, refurbish their pool and do tile and coping and grout and refurbish a bathroom and stuff like that. So I'm not talking about stuff like that, but I am talking about the basics of how to use stuff. I hand pocket knives to people all the time, and it looks like one of the most dangerous situations they've been in their life. Some of them in their late 20s, early 30s. And I'm like, this is almost a little bananas to me that it's a possibility that you are possibly nearly ending your own life because I handed you a pocket knife. That's a deficit in skill that is something that we should concern ourselves with and we should do better about. So I have all this gear. I just filmed a knife tour. It's already available for channel members. Think about joining channel memberships. If you want to be able to watch that stuff, it's been available for them for a couple of days. And the purpose of doing that tour was to say that, hey, I have all these knives and I really want to try to cut down on the amount of knives that I have. I want to keep myself to 50 knives. But what I'm really saying to myself is I don't need that much gear to knock out tasks. And I'm owning that fact. But I'm not owning the fact that there is a deficit in knowledge, and it has to do with people like me. I am in my late 30s. Of course, none of us will walk the earth the entire for hundreds of years. So while you're here, you have to pass down knowledge or knowledge will be lost. And I am failing to do that in a number of ways. It's actually something I really have to self-reflect on and think about, like, how am I going to remedy that? So me personally, I know that I have knives, multi-tools, watches, flashlights, battery banks, pouches, slings, backpacks, prep gear, survival gear, food rations, MREs, med kits, all this stuff. And I do try to give instruction via YouTube, but most of my stuff that I talk about in YouTube is this is why I have it, maybe you should get it too. So one thing I need to do better in the future is actually giving instruction on how to manipulate the gear that you have or you don't have to work better in your favor. So it's nice to be able to give advice about different gear items and different things that I purchased, and maybe you want to purchase the same thing, but I should be able to connect that deficit and really help people on passing a skill along. So today I've invited over a couple of buddies who don't have the skills to remove wallpaper. They don't know how to prep an area for a brand new toilet or how to build a brand new vanity. And I don't know if I get all that stuff knocked out today. I kind of intend to knock it out without any issues. But I think that the learning, me teaching while doing the process is something that's going to slow me down, which is not a big thing. What is a big thing is how delicious this espresso looks. I know you guys are making fun of me because I'm drinking a little bit of a Starbucks espresso. But when you get something that looks this freaking delicious, what can you say? But I'm gonna invite them over. I'm gonna really try to actively be more a part of the process when it comes to passing on knowledge to others. I really want to try to do that. Another thing I'm going to own this year, and I say this year as if we're not already halfway through April. Happy tax day for those that are watching this the day after tax day or on tax day or whenever the hell I decide to post this. But I want to ensure that I continue to pass this knowledge on, so not just my family members, but others around me have this knowledge as well. Because I was going to start this video off by saying that where are the real men? We don't have real men anymore. Real men are not around. They don't know how to do shit. But I was like, if I do that type of video, what am I really saying? I'm really shitting on other men's inability to teach young men how to be men. I know that's a men word salad. But what I'm saying is, if I start this video, or if I say in this video, where are the men? Men don't know how to do shit. I wish men would work on their skills and be manly men, right? I'm not trying to be on that red pill shit. But what I'm literally would be shitting on other men, and it wouldn't make a lot of sense at all. I shouldn't say, where are the manly men? They don't know how to do stuff anymore. There are so many people who are around my age in my neighborhood who don't own lawn equipment. I literally text a buddy, a neighbor who's a good friend as well. I texted him the other day. I said, do you have bar and chain oil? I need to fire up my chainsaw and I don't want my chain to overheat. I only have a little bit left. I don't have a lot of work to do, but I just don't want to jack up my chainsaw. And his response to me was, what is a chainsaw? Is that the thing that you use to chop down hedges, or is that what you use to chop down trees? Because they both look like they have chains. And I was like, this is an indicator that this man, I think, is my age, maybe a couple years younger, and I'm gonna give him a little bit of grace. He's from Australia. Okay, I don't know if they use chainsaws in Australia. He has a deep Australian accent. He married a American girl. He came here on a golf scholarship. He's a freaking powerhouse at golf. and all that good stuff. So maybe they just don't do a lot of chainsawing down there, down under, okay? But that was an indicator to me that there's a deficit in learning when it comes from man-to-man knowledge. When I met his wife, the first time I ever met his wife, we're conversing, we got all our kids in the same place, we're trick-or-treating, we're chit-chatting. The second sentence out of her mouth after the greetings and pleasantries was, don't ask him to do shit because he will F it up. I asked him to do this and he jacked it all up. And I was like, first off, shots fired. I wish Mrs. X would tell another broad while I'm standing in front of both of y'all, don't ask him to do stuff because he ain't shit. That would be a whole issue, okay? That would be a whole issue. That's number one. But number two, she said that with her chest, meaning that she legit does believe there is a deficit when it comes to her ability for her man to do stuff, and she doesn't like that stuff. Let's see how this is going real quick, man. I already had one sip, but I forgot to swirl it around. Let's really see how it's popping. There's not a deficit in that cup. I don't know if I missed much anymore with this setup, man. I owe y'all a setup. I just did my knife tour. Coffee tour is coming next. We're heading towards the man cave tour. You see how I'm landing this plane? But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to myself continue to pick away at the deficit of men's ability to do stuff. I'm not going to be like that one group where you pay them money, you pay them $18,000 to go to boot camp. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying that common tasks that I think you should have the ability to do, weed whacking, mowing your own grass, how to fire up a chainsaw, how to change your oil, how to even do stuff that's a little bit harder. You want to do some tie rods and ball joints? Bring it on over here. Let's do it. Something that I think is pretty simple, but people think is incredibly hard. Changing out brakes. Let's do that stuff. How to sharpen your EDC knife instead of just always buying a new one like I see some of you freaking peasants do here on YouTube. Let's do that. I'm not an expert at it, but I know that I will crawl, walk, run my way through sharpening my own stuff, replacing the cutters on my multi-tools, fixing up the files on my multi-tools, getting new batteries that are corroded if they're alkaline, batteries and flashlights. I'll just do the shit myself. But why is that built into me? You know, I credit a lot of this to my stepdad. He didn't enter my life until I was 8 years old, but when he entered my life, by the time I was 10, he kind of figured me out. And by the time I was 10, he was riding the ship from being a single parent mom. You know, my mom was a single parent to, you know, being married, and now he's my stepdad. He was correcting all sorts of little stuff. He corrected how I stood. Hey, real men, you know, whenever you're trying to get air, real men stand up and keep their heads up when they're tired. Don't lean on your knees and look down towards the ground. Super simple stuff like that. I was doing it. I didn't know this as a 9-year-old, but he corrected small stuff like that. He showed me how to do breaks, and he taught me how to throw a baseball, all that good stuff. But even small, minute stuff like that, I don't want to just keep that only specifically for my sons. There's a deficit in manhood, and I'm going to tackle it. Use your gear or lose your gear, says True Budget EDC. Shout out to your boy. That's such a good saying that makes so much sense. I am not taking your saying, but reflectively, I was looking at your pocket dump video from the other day. If y'all don't follow True Budget EDC, I don't know what y'all are doing. I'm gonna link him up down below. I was watching your pocket dump video the other day, and the first thing I thought to myself was just like, he's using this stuff. He has shown the same knife consistently for weeks. He may change it up every now and again, but what that means to me is he's not doing this for clout. He's doing this because he uses the crap. Golly, that makes a lot of sense. It really sucks that I just slammed back the rest of this espresso, because that literally means I need to go put on work boots, get my water, and get ready to remove this wallpaper, which is easy to do. It's just so messy. Oh, it's so messy. Oh, and by the way, a sink fell on my head last week, a porcelain sink. The dreads literally saved my life. No concussions, nothing. So these come in handy. Grow dreads if you see fit. If this is your first time stopping by, man, hit the subscribe button. I like to do all sorts of stuff. Basically kind of whatever I want to. Everything from truck content to prep content to rambling while drinking coffee content. If this is not your first time stopping by, I'm not talking to you. You've already done what I need you to do. I appreciate that. For everyone else, I got shit to do. We'll speak soon. I always forget to clean my cups, man. I'm gonna get better about that too.